It is the big day for Spider-Man fans on PC as Marvel's Spider-Man 2 has finally launched. Now, this is part of an initiative of PlayStation games, and we've seen it as well with Xbox especially. Really the only odd one out here being Nintendo, where they kind of just leave their stuff on their hardware. But this is kind of an initiative of both of these brands, Xbox and PlayStation, to try and reach out to a huge swath of players that in the past they didn't really bother with. And I think it was kind of a mistake in a lot of ways not to bother with them, because a lot of the times PC players would just end up finding a way to emulate your game on PC anyways. It didn't really force them to buy a console. So really what was happening in the past was you were just losing out on potential players. Actually, you even see that with Bloodborne now. I made a video recently on JayRPG, my other channel, which if you haven't seen, I cover role-playing games over there. I have other channels as well where I do like Let's Plays, stuff like that, all this stuff. It's gonna be in the description. But on JayRPG, talked a little bit about Bloodborne, the situation around that, and actually how PC players already pretty much ported the game unofficially to PC with emulation and made it run and look better than on console. Now, I'm not a big PC master race guy. I find the console wars and the PC wars things stupid. I just want people to be able to play fun games, have a good time, and hopefully those games are preserved. And a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, the best way to do that is to make games available on the most possible, right, to the most amount of people. So Spider-Man 2 coming to PC officially is a good thing, I think, in a lot of ways. We're going to talk about it today for just a couple of minutes and some of the news around it. But if you enjoy this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I do have a question of the day for you, which is, are there any games from console that you would like to see appear officially in some capacity on PC? For me, the biggest two are probably Metal Gear Solid 4. It's been trapped on the PS3 architecture for a long time, though it has been unofficially ported through emulation, and Bloodborne, which is kind of the same on the PS4. Now that said, leading up to this, I didn't really care much, not because I didn't think it was cool, but because of the controversial PlayStation Network requirements in order to play these games. Like for a while here, Sony was doing this very dumb thing, reminds me of like what Ubisoft does with, you have to have a Ubisoft Connect account, or what EA does with, you have to have an EA Play account or an EA account or whatever they call it now after they changed from Origin. Jill, is it EA Play now?
I think it's just EA Games now.
Okay, they've changed it like 3 times.
Yeah.
So EA does it too. I think in general, you know, it's a dumb thing to do. This kind of DRM style, you have to have an account to play our game. That's what they were pushing. And apparently they walked that back pretty last minute now with saying that they're not going to force you to do that to get it on PC, which I think is a great thing. I think that in general, it's like you already are going to probably have a Steam account or whatever in order to play this game. What is the point of that? It really was just something where they wanted to pad their numbers, in my opinion, and say we have this many active PlayStation members, so our stock price will rise. I get it from a business point of view, but it was just anti-consumer in a lot of ways. So I'm glad that that's gone, although they did say that if you do set up a PSN account, you can unlock some suits early and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. These suits are not hard to unlock at all. Now that said, the reason that I care the most about this game coming to PC is because, one, this will unshackle the game a little bit in the future from the PS5. Like, other than official upgrades, you know, like say the PS6 comes out and they do another performance patch or something, other than that, this game is just kind of where it's gonna be on PS5. And I think that that's good, you know, in terms of like the game itself. It disappointed me in a lot of ways. The adaptation of the symbiote storyline disappointed me in a lot of ways, and I thought a lot of concepts were rushed. But as a game, I thought it was a fun video game. I thought the story was competent, it's fine, it holds it together, and I thought the gameplay was very fun. But the technical side of it is whatever they gave you for suits, whatever they gave you for costumes, right? Whatever they gave you for content, whatever they gave you for performance caps, like you can hit this frame rate, you can hit this frame rate, you can hit this resolution, those things are what they are on console. So you're not getting any more content unless for some reason they pull an Arkham Knight and they drop like the Batman suit years later. You're not really gonna get, you know, any more suits right there. Like, well, I guess that's content. You're not going to get more upgrades unless it gets that PS6 patch of some kind. It's just what it is on console. So it coming to PC, for me, the biggest deal is mods. The biggest deal for me is not like now swing around New York as Elmo from Sesame Street, although I know someone will do that. The biggest point to me is, oh, now someone's going to put in the Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2 suit. You know, like the new Spider-Man from the new Ultimate Universe. Someone's going to do that, or they're going to do the Picotech suit from that. Or maybe they will do a more movie-accurate version of the Raimi suit, or maybe they'll do a more movie-accurate version of the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen people do these things on the first Spider-Man Marvel game, obviously from Insomniac. Actually, going back all the way, we've even seen them do it with the old PC versions of like Spider-Man Web of Shadows and games like that, where they've added those things in. Also, PC makes it so that this stuff is preserved. Let's say in the future at some point, I don't think it'll happen, but let's just say at some point, you're not able to buy the suits anymore for Marvel Spider-Man, or you're not able to buy that content, right? Well, that actually did happen to the Activision games. It's possible they'll come back at some point, but even if you look at something like Spider-Man, I believe it's Edge of Time, there are some suits that I can't get on console now because I got the game secondhand way later after Activision lost the license, and I actually can't even officially buy those suits for Spider-Man. The only way to use those suits now is to have already owned them, to crack your console, right, and obviously play offline and have the DLC that way preserved, or to go on PC, and people have preserved it through that, even if you can't buy it. And so in that way, I think PC gaming is very good for preservation in a lot of ways, and it's very good for unshackling these games. I personally am most excited to see what people create from this. What suits are people going to mod in? Spider-Man has hundreds of suits. Spider-Man's suits are even drawn differently depending on the person who is the artist for the comic. You know, sometimes Spider-Man's suit will look one way, sometimes it'll look a different way. It can be the same suit. Like, there are worlds of difference apart between Spider-Man's first appearance and Spider-Man's, appearance even in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. There's worlds apart between the classic Spider-Man costume of red and blue and how that's drawn by a lot of authors, or maybe how it's drawn by Todd McFarlane in the Torment storyline, or in the, I believe it's the Wendigo storyline, or the Morbius storyline, or any of these things, right? In just the old classic Spider-Man comics that Todd McFarlane did a run of about 12 to 15, I believe. There's a big difference, right? These different authors, different artists, different people bring different takes to not only the same suit, but also will design entirely new suits. And even though I think a lot of us are always like, hey, please put this suit in, like, I make my own wish list videos of suits. I've already even made one for Wolverine. I have another one, which I've been kind of brewing up in my head too. And even though we have these, right, we have these wish lists, we have these things we want to see, it is physically impossible and impractical for a development team to put in everything. But you know what's not impossible and impractical? For John Mod Van Damme over there to go ahead and mod in his favorite Spider-Man suit for everyone to use for free on the PC version of the game. And I think that that's great, because at the end of the day, that just puts more content out there for more players and adds more style to the game. I'm sure people will improve a lot of things in the game, from lighting to the suits to maybe even the performance. Hey, to maybe even things like shading. People go through, they do recolors, they do different things like that. I saw a whole mod which was designed to turn Spider-Man 1 from Insomniac into the classic early 2000s PS1 Dreamcast PC Spider-Man game, the one that I grew up with and love. Like, I saw people turning it into that. There's a lot of creativity that comes from these games being ported to different hardware, and I'm excited to see what comes of this. So I hope people enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, let me know. If you have maybe some argument against it coming to PC, you can always let me know. I probably won't agree with you, but hey, you can let me know. If you want to support this channel, we have Fortnite code DJAY123. It's technically a Spider-Man game. I mean, he's in there. He's got a few suits in there, so you love Spider-Man, you might like Fortnite. We also have our own channels as well. Like I already talked about JayRPG. We have Magical Jill, where we focus on anime content and all kinds of stuff over there. We also have our own Let's Play channel, that'll be in the description, and our own store, cosmobunny.shop, where you can use code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase. Coasters, keychains, trays, and more. Here's the thing, you're like, why do I need this? Well, Maybe you love comic books, maybe you love comic book characters, manga, things like that. What we do is we take art from those things, from damaged books. These are books that are unable to be sold, or they are internal pamphlets that people are throwing out of DVDs, magazines, all kinds of different stuff like that that are damaged. They cannot be moved. And what we do is we take those, we turn them into transformative art, save a little bit of the art, turn it into something new, bring new life into it. The whole point of transformation of art, that's what we do over there, and we hope you enjoy it. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui, and I will end this on one of my favorite lines ever from Stan Lee, Excelsior!